this press conference. So I will give you an overview of what we talked about yesterday, take your questions, and try to get through what we talked about yesterday and how they plan to go forward in the future with us. On yesterday, we had some school officials from some of the charter systems to reach out to us that have worked with the mayor over the course of the years and know her record on education and wanted to find out if there was an opportunity for us to continue talking. As we said in multiple statements, we had met with school board officials the Friday before Super Bowl. It was our understanding that we will continue to meet with those officials after Super Bowl. That second meeting got discontinued, but our Director of Finance, Ms. Samuels, continued to meet with some school board officials to find a way forward. The storyline regarding how we went forward with this particular issue was always primary to what we were supposed to be doing. Not a matter of whether or not we were going to face the obligations that we faced, but how to do it. And that's why our Chief Financial Officer stepped in, looking for avenues to get the school board their payments, but just in a different way. That story got told a different way, and so that was the story that we were responding to. Now back to the meeting on yesterday. As I said, we had a very robust, good meeting with some charter school officials who, like the city of New Orleans, were looking for a way that we could continue to be very basic, get everybody in the room, and continue to talk. As I said in a public statement after council meeting last week, even though I love you all dearly, this will not be settled in the media. This will be settled by adults in the room talking, getting closer as they can to a compromise regarding this issue. So it's no different than any other thing the city of New Orleans faces, and the mayor has been committed to be able to do that. Regarding some of the stuff that has been said regarding the mayor's feeling on schools, the mayor has a 20-year history regarding schools and her support. Starting with Andrew High School, which is in Broadmoor, part of her community work. That high school got stood up because of her help and because of her work in that community, along with several other assets in that community. We are in schools twice a month. The mayor works across the board with lots of school leaders for different things. Her commitment has not wavered, has not changed regarding students and kids and making sure that schools have the best, even though the Orleans Parish school system is not under city purview. The mayor continues to support in different ways, and that will be the case. Is this a challenging issue? Yes, it is. It's challenging from the standpoint that bringing everybody together to talk regarding the continued cooperation for the CEA to be signed for crime cameras, and now one part of this that is in litigation. What took place at the meeting yesterday, as I said, was a very good and robust conversation to try and put that aside and bring all parties together so that they can continue to talk. Right now, there are lots of conversations going on separately. That is not going to get it done. These parties need to come together and talk, which is what the mayor has continued to do. We thought today would be an extension of standing with some other leaders going forward. As I said, they had some challenges this morning and were unable to be here to stand with us. So that is where we are at as an overview. So with that, I will take some of your questions as to where we're at and move on from there. Yes. Uh-huh. Well, the mayor is going to a briefing. Now, remember, we called this press conference at 9 a.m. because the school leaders that we were meeting with through our discussions yesterday were ready to come out and say, we want to find a way forward with all the parties. That was supposed to be the nature of this press conference. When that changed, then the mayor went to the 10 a.m. briefing, and we will have a public safety press conference after. So her schedule changed. We were making allowances to do that in front of this. Nothing outside of that, just for her to continue on her day. So right after I spend time with you, that's where I'm going upstairs to the 9th floor. I thank you for the question, and that's a point I really want to stop and bring out because there's been a lot of conversation about what went wrong and what happened and what didn't happen. And part of today's press conference was supposed to be that, guys, we are moving on. Past is past. I'm aware of that. What was said has been said. I was in council chambers for 4.5 hours with all of you last week. But at some point, you have to move on and get things done. If I have an issue with you, then at some point we can talk about it with Darrell and others, but at some point you and I have to sit down and work it out. And that's where this school board issue is. I said in a public statement the other day not to conflate the two particular issues, is that we were here with another issue regarding sanitation just a few months ago, where parties disagreed. The city of New Orleans had to step back up and issue an emergency contract because parties were in disagreement. That is still in litigation. That is still being worked out, but we had to step up and provide services. This issue, not the same, is at one of those points where people need to continue to talk to find a way forward. So that's where this is. So holding on, who did what then, really not productive at this point because we really got to find a way forward. That's what the citizens want. That's the answers that you all ultimately want to do, and though I appreciate you all having to answer the question, if I was sitting where you was, I would answer the question too, but we have to find a way to move forward. And we can't do that, just to be very, very candid. If I'm saying this about you today or that about you today, that doesn't make for good opportunities for talk and dialogue. Darrell, did you have something? Hold on. Mm-hmm. We are going down with City Council, our IG department. We have levels of people. Even though I see City Council members on a regular basis, we talk about a lot of different things, and so does the mayor. But we have our intergovernmental relations who talks to the council regularly. So they talked to the council yesterday about today's council meeting. Some things were on the agenda, but they are part of the fabric going forward. Yesterday's meeting with some of the school leaders was supposed to be in two parts. That meeting with the mayor, where they said, Mayor, let's work with you to find a way forward. We know your record, Mayor. We know you have a 20-year record of helping schools. We want to help you find a way forward. So that first outreach was supposed to be with school board members, have that dialogue, then bring in other parties, which will include city council or maybe city council at the first round of that. That was the intention of that meeting, to bring everybody together to talk. So conversations are ongoing, reaching out to city council members. We cannot do a lot without talking to city council members. Sometimes it's formal, sometimes it's informal, sometimes it's a director meeting one-on-one with them. So to answer your questions, but they are going to be involved in the process, and we welcome that. Mm-hmm. Darrell, I don't know the specific answer to that, but here's what our chief finance officer has been saying. It's not a matter of making the payment. It's with city government trying to schedule that from looking at a cash management situation. We have to forecast months in advance for a lot of things. For Super Bowl, which was a great event for the city, that had to be forecast almost 2 years ago. So we're looking at the whole year from a financial standpoint. And I'm not a financial expert, but that's how they look at it. And what they've been saying is, let's talk about how we get these payments and get this resolved. Maybe not the original way that it was planned. Let's find out how we do that. That has got mixed up in words like renege, not going to do it. None of that is true. Everybody's been trying to find a way how we do it and not if we do it. I'm sorry. They're going to hold, I just got off the phone with them, so I'm going to give them due respect. They're going to make a statement and send a statement because they were supposed to be here, and they offered their apologies. They're going to speak on that either shortly today, so I did agree that I was going to give them that opportunity to be able to do that. It's a big charter group here in the city, but I just literally before I walked out here got off the phone with them. They said they had some challenges, and we respect that. Things happen, even with the best of plans, so we will go forward from there. Hey, Winston, I'm sorry. The civil district, yeah, yeah, I know how it, no, the civil district court hearing, that was planned, that was going on. That was going to take place. This meeting that was scheduled at 9 was because those leaders, as I said, we had a robust, great meeting yesterday, called the mayor, asked her for time. The mayor opened her schedule, which was not open, to meet with these leaders. We had a great meeting yesterday. And so the go forward was before we did public safety at 10 o'clock, which public safety for Mardi Gras is like Super Bowl. That's what 400 people from around the state preparing for, for Mardi Gras. We put this on the calendar as an opportunity to say, okay, let's go out and tell the public where we were on this issue. Regarding the court thing, it wasn't a gotcha before that. That was already set. That was already going forward. This meeting that was supposed to take place with the school officials was simply to say, we're going to work to get all of you together and talk. That's what has to happen. So that's what this was about. So it wasn't about rescheduling before. This was the only time. I don't like 6-hour press conferences. I'm not a big fan. My staff can tell you a press conference at 10 or 11 and more, certainly not at 9. But it was the only time to be able to do that was at 9 today, and then still go on with our day. Hold on one second. No, that wasn't the case. They may have had some concerns with that, but nothing with a cancel, because I certainly would have been standing here. If that would have been the case, I would have let you all know. Look, guys, regarding that, the school system is, is a big organization, and people are going to have differences of opinion. They're not all going to arrive at the same time, and that's where it is. And I appreciate you all doing your job to ask questions. Sources say this. People will tell you this behind the scenes. I've been in your business. I get it. I understand that. But in working towards getting something, it can be complicated to bring everybody together all at one time. And that's what this is. That is the bottom line. And ultimately, school board, City of New Orleans, City Council, all the parties involved have to do that. And that's what the mayor's been spending her time doing. But when it doesn't come together, like the school officials had a challenge getting here this morning to be at this press conference, the mayor has to go on with her day. So the fact that why didn't the mayor, we're supposed to be upstairs prepping with 400 representatives from across the state, our federal partners. Remember, we're in Tier 1 for Mardi Gras. This is just as important as Super Bowl. That's an important meeting. So she's prepping for that, and rightfully so, because this didn't take place in the form that it was supposed to. She went on to the next thing, which I'm going to in just a few minutes. Anybody else have any follow-ups? No, I'm good. Yes, go ahead. Right. Mm-hmm. 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 Right. Okay. My great answer to that, and the city attorney screams at me in the nicest way because she's a nice person, whenever I try to comment, even though I may want to, regarding legal issues. You're right. That is taking place in civil court. That is part of the debate, as my understanding is of that particular issue. I don't know how that's going to be resolved. That's going to be resolved from our city attorney's office. That I appreciate the question, but beyond is going to take place in the court and what's going to be ruled, I don't have that information. And when I do, we will be happy to share. Hey, Winston, one last thing. Okay. Mm-hmm. That, now you're asking me to be, really sharp about the CEO's office and the Director of Finance office and speak to something accurately, which, as you know, in journalism, you should not necessarily do that if you don't have all the information. Here's the best answer to that, and I think our Director of Finance has said that. They're still collecting a lot of that information, and so that's how they're looking at the year. We had a great outcome with Taylor Swift. We had a great outcome with Super Bowl. But the city of New Orleans, it's not like somebody just swipes your credit card for business that is done in the city to the city of New Orleans after those events. So as I understand, our finance department is being careful. Remember, guys, we have to budget for the whole city. And even though an organization may say, we've got great concerns, we don't want to cut our programs, we hear that from a lot of organizations all the time. But the city of New Orleans has to be the entity that is the city of New Orleans and take a look at everything that is out there. And it's multifaceted, it's complicated. And so when our finance department is saying, we want to be careful, we want to structure this the right way and move forward, that's what this is. We would be negligent not to do it that way. Then you all will be having another question from us asking, why weren't you more careful? Why didn't you forecast more careful? Why didn't you do that? So that, that's where this is.
Was it included in the budget before the mayor signed it, and was she aware?
I can't, because I didn't get that deep into the budget thing. That would be a question that Gilbert or the finance director, and they're not here to answer that. But I can try and get that provided to you as your specific question. Well, that's not necessarily, and that's not the issue. You're trying to run me around there, but that's not necessarily the issue. But I'm happy to try to get you the information. Okay, guys, I will see. Thank you all. We apologize for what was supposed to be a different press conference. We will update you as soon as we can. As I said, the school officials are planning on releasing some information, and we said we'd be respectful and give them the opportunity to do that. We will see you guys back here at 12:15, or is it 12:30, for our public safety press conference. So thank you all for coming. Appreciate it.